All right. So Trump is talking about a new in vitro fertilization policy in which the government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for all costs. I said costs associated with the IVF treatment. So I want to play this video. Is this Trump talking about Medicare for all or some sort of thing, or is this just more platitudes? He is talking about it, and it is rather interesting. So let's play this. Is this a form of Medicare for all? Let's play this, and then I got a video from Case Study QB.
I'm announcing today in a major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely.
Gotta make them babies, right?
And for this same reason, we will also allow new parents to deduct major newborn expenses from their taxes, so that parents that have a beautiful baby will be able. So we're pro-family. Nobody's ever said that before. But the IVF treatments are expensive. It's very hard for many people to do it and to get it. But I've been in favor of IVF right from the beginning.
Okay. It's a fascinating statement that he's making. I am interested in how sincere he is in regards to having the government or insurance companies do it, because, hey, folks, how's your insurance company treating you? Type 1 for Kit. I have a great relationship with my insurance company. It's great. Stop being provocative. Type 2, I hate my insurance company. I hate him. 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 I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat. So before we play this video from Case Study QB, Pasta, your thoughts on that 1-minute speech by good old Trump?
It's devastating. It's going to hurt him, right? Because this is what the culture war issues from the right look at. Like, this is the same thing that the leftists do when they virtue signal all the time. You know, when they scream for Medicare for all, which, you know, once again, I believe that healthcare should be a human right. How we obtain that, that's one thing. But this is the area where the libertarians who are supporting Donald Trump on the right are probably pulling their hair out of their heads. It's a culture war issue from the right. Listen, Donald Trump is not for freedom of speech. He's for freedom of his own speech. Any speech he doesn't like, if it's pro-Palestinian voices, if it's Iranian voices, if it's Chinese voices, he has no problem if they're being censored, right? This is all about team sports, and that's what he's doing. He's playing into this divisive rhetoric right over here. You know, it's different if you come up with a plan and say, listen, we want to figure out a way that, you know, we want to have more of our citizens be able to have babies over here because it's been hard for them with the healthcare situation. You have to fix the whole situation, like you had mentioned at one point. You also have to fix the financial situation, really, to tell you the truth. A lot of people don't have babies nowadays in the United States because they can't afford it. You know, this is what it's about. We're always dodging the real issue over here and giving you this surface level rhetoric that's going to make people fight and go back and forth. You know, it's like, okay, so you have all these leftist activists who want to be able to abort a baby whenever they want up until the time it's born, right? Like, they want that law in play. So now you have this. This is the answer from the right. He's pandering to a specific conservative right-wing Christian group. But I've even seen conservative right-wing Christians saying, this is a bad move. We don't want to have any form of Medicare for all. We don't want the government subsidizing anything. Get out. Don't do that. This is bad. Like I said, those libertarians, libertarians who went along with this,
wait a minute.
About voting this, they must be pulling their hair out of their head. Sorry,
wait a minute. Because here's the thing. I vaguely recall this, and again, it was just only a blip on the radar. But, you know, during Trump's first term, you know, he did have the conversation about making healthcare affordable. He says, why is everything so expensive? And the thing is, like, look, the way I view Trump is, I wouldn't say it's an absolute pure abusive relationship, but there's always that point to where you could talk to somebody who you know is very aggressive and can get things done, and you got to be careful what you say, because once it's done, like, they move on and they never address it again. But he was talked out of it, and I'm always curious to know, like, well, okay, if there wasn't that shutting down, because again, he did surround himself with people, the Bush Cheney administration, and they thought that he was going to be biddable like Bush Jr. was. You know, I have to wonder again, is Trump really going to follow through on it? I am curious about that, because he even brought up the fact of, and it's a completely different example altogether, but he was prevented by it by Nancy Pelosi for doing a continuous stimulus check during the height of the pandemic, which again Trump wanted to do. He even said so, and it was blocked by Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. And I always wondered, okay, were you really going to do that, Trump? It is just the thing I want to see. Actions speak louder than words, and if he does get elected into office, hypothetically, should he win, is he really going to follow through on an idea to help out, I guess, struggling families, with the ability to start one? But again, kids cost, money. I want to pull up this video here from Case Study QB where people talk about.
Can I say something about that real quick?
Yeah.
Well, I think that when he said that, and I remember what he said, he goes, Obamacare doesn't work. It's really bad. We have to figure out a system that will work for everybody, right? I think he was trying to kind of propose like a libertarian mindset. In other words, what we're going to do is we're not going to have so many hurdles there. We're not going to have so many restrictions.
Yeah.
We're going to open it up to the free market. If we open it up to the free market and we don't let these monopolies control everything with their captured agencies, whether it be through the FDA or any other big pharma entity, we can then lower the price, right? That was, I think, the mentality he had, but he understood he couldn't do that, right? Eventually. So he had to kind of abandon the whole project itself. This right here is the opposite of what he was intentionally doing. This is actually doing what the Democrats are doing. This is like a form of Obamacare. We're going to subsidize and mandate things. You hear subsidize and mandate, right? The government's going to subsidize it, and then we're going to mandate it. But who are they going to subsidize it through, right? They're still going to, big pharma still going to get the money on it. They're going to still, it's just like the new vaccine out there. At the end of the day, whoever pays for it, it's still made by Pfizer. It's still made by Moderna, right? They're going to still reap the benefits. So it's not this idea that the libertarians have, which is moving away all the regulations, right? They're anti-regulation, not because they don't want, it's not protections or certain things where leftists are like, wait, we need regulations because it's not really lawful to pollute our air and our water, whatnot. But the libertarians, they just want to take the government out of it because they think the government is more of a hassle than a help. And at this point in time, I think they're right. I don't want the government helping us as much. I want them to get their hands off, because every single time they say they're helping, they're really hurting. So this is a complete abandonment of that mentality of opening it up to the free market. And instead, he's doing exactly what the left is doing, just with conservative issues.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So look, I do want to pull up this video here. It's a little bit of from Case Study QB, where the media responds to it. Yes, the also fantastic pundits at CNN. CNN, the only news organization to have a streaming service last for a month. Give me $250 million, okay? I can make it last longer than a month.
I'm announcing today in a major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely.
We got to make more babies, folks.
Alyssa, there has been a lot of debate within the Republican Party over IVF. What's your sense of why he's announcing this now?
Well, listen, Trump obviously realizes that the vast majority of Americans support IVF. Some of us are here because of IVF, but this is such an absurd policy proclamation. So now Republicans are going to argue for government mandates on insurance companies, or the federal government is going to pay for IVF, which the first round can cost between $10,000 and $20,000. This goes back to this, this whole argument. They've been attacking the Harris campaign about not being transparent, not answering enough questions. Donald Trump is going to have to explain how on earth he plans to pay for this. It feels like...
How are you going to pay for it? That Coca-Cola classic line. How are you going to pay for it? We need Medicare for all. How are you going to pay for it? We need to invest in our infrastructure. How are you going to pay for it? We need to invest in the American people. How are you going to pay for it? We got to bail out the banks. Oh, here's money.
Well, there is an answer for that, kid, too.
More money. There you go.
Right? The answer, kid, is we're going to stop funding these wars and fund stuff at home. It's what things do we choose to fundate? And she is right. She hit it right on the nose. The fact that he's saying they're going to mandate, government mandate, and like this is what they're against. It goes against their whole ideology. Now all of a sudden it's okay because it's for something that they want, that they like, that backs their Christian values. He knows exactly what he's doing. There's a lot of libertarians, Kit, that would say at the convention that Donald Trump is a socialist. Well, this is selective socialism here, right? Where are you going to fund and what's going to happen? Are you going to fund a lot of sick people on the streets and help them out? No, but I'm going to help fund the Christian women out there who want to get IVF, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I don't think this is going to blow up in Trump's face as people are saying it's going to. I think there's potential for him to capitalize on stuff in which the Democrats are not jumping on. And, even because, again, you could see in the corner of this, the first interview was Kamala and Tim. You get no policies with Kamala. Like, she says things. And look, I don't believe Trump. Again, he's like any other politician. But when he's, again, bringing out policies and issues, okay, well, what comes next? I'm kind of curious about his follow through and how much he means it.
Like, as a lifelong conservative Republican, this is a Bernie Sanders like policy, as though the money's going to fall out of the sky and we're going to be able to give everyone free things to get their votes. I don't know a traditional Republican that would think that this is sound conservative policy.
Matt, when it comes to mandating insurance companies, this is largely something that blue states do. What's your take?
Well, look, anyone who understands the insurance industry right now knows there's a lot of mandates out there. I'll put the philosophy of it all aside and talk about the politics of it. The politics of it are smart. I mean, look, Donald Trump was taking some incoming when you had certain states that were trying to take action on IVF. He and his campaign made a smart decision to go out there very quickly. If you remember, it was probably either the same day or within a day, saying he supported IVF. And now this takes it a step further. And I will say also this. Donald Trump is not one who often likes to play defense on any issue. And so clearly has seen that the Democratic Party and the Harris campaign has been trying to weaponize this issue across the board and wants to go back on offense. And that's probably among the reasons you see him talking about the way he is today. And I imagine it's actually going to be pretty smart politics at the end of the day as well.
And that he may be losing support over this issue.
I don't think he's going to lose support. I think this is a gamble to see, how people would react to it. And look, I've spoken to Trumpers and Republicans and Libertarians, Greens and Socialists. You've done the same as well. And I think it's 100% American to say, yeah, I hate my insurance company, the ones that handle my health. I think a lot of people don't like it. And now look, again, the bigger issue is kids do cost money. But if this is a stepping stone for Medicare for all, I am curious about the follow through, because for all we know, this is just Trump speaking. And then that's it. I don't see this as a damage to his campaign, unless possibly you want to add in here.
No, he's going to lose libertarians for this, right? Right now, this is about a chance for Chase Oliver to pick up some votes and say, look, I told you, this guy's going to mandate your insurance. That word mandates is a very scary word for libertarians. You know what I'm saying? Socialized medicine is a very scary term for libertarians. And there were a lot of people who were willing to bite the bullet, especially the Ross Ulbricht people, the free Ross people. They were willing to go ahead and try to give a vote for Donald Trump because they would get something from it. They have to check themselves now, because what Donald Trump is doing right here, Kit, he's doing the same thing that Kamala Harris is doing. He's going for the low-hanging fruit, right? Mm-hmm. The people that are already in his base. That's the kind of funny thing over here is, why would you say this here? I mean, you're not the people in your base. Everybody who's for this is already going to vote for you anyways. I don't see you picking up any votes with this whatsoever. In fact, I see yourself putting yourself in danger with some conservatives that want a smaller government, libertarians who are leaning to the right. I mean, I don't know why he is doing this whatsoever. All those people who would like this right here, he already has their vote. What new votes are you getting with this? None.
Mm-hmm. Well, But perhaps maybe I'm going to be, disagreeing with you on this one a little bit. I think this is going to gain Trump some more support. I think it very well. I potentially those independents who are not actively engaged in politics like we are, who hear this and could maybe, get out of the rut of not voting for anybody and voting for Trump. But then again, we'll see how all of this plays
women.
Out
we're talking about what? So we're talking about women only, right? We're not talking about men. There's no men he gains in this. Just a small.
No. Probably was women, and let's face it. If we really look at the numbers, especially with women voting and being a key role. I mean, I could see Trump getting a boon from this more so than Kamala or the Democrats. So I mean, again, I could be wrong on all of this, but we'll see. Maybe this blows up in Trump's face, or it is a capital, because again, look at who he's having part of his potential transition team. You have RFK Jr. and yes, even Tulsi Gabbard. And while I have my criticism of them, they are not your traditional Republican or Trump supporters who at one point were critical of him. Perhaps there's a bigger picture being played here, but we'll see how it all ends up in the long run. Paz, I'll give you the final word.
Well, I think the area where he did pick up more votes was with RFK, right? The medical freedom movement went with RFK. Most of them were disgruntled Trump voters that didn't like his Operation Warp Speed mentality, and that's why they went over to RFK. Him taking RFK, he's able to take over all those votes and absolve himself of his biggest issue, which is Operation Warp Speed and all those COVID protocols, but also to the area in which RFK is talking about children. Let's get our children healthy. They're getting fed poisonous food, poisonous water. We have to fix that. That's an area where you're going to grab a lot of people. This over here, I just think this was a dumb move. I don't know what he's trying to do, ignite his base. He's just kind of pandering to that particular audience. But I see this more as harm than helpful at the end of the day. And I think it was a stupid move. And I wish he would get away from this quickly as possible. At the end of the day, it is going to be about the economy, stupid, right? How do we get
no, it will
people?
be. It will be.
I mean,
it will be.
People are not having children, Kit, because they don't have the money and the finances to afford it. So if he would just concentrate on that, and he would play ad after ad after ad of how bad financially, economically, the Biden and Harris administration was, he would win this thing going away if it was a fair election. But who knows what's going to happen?
Now, listen, hey, Dan, I know my colleague Daniel's watching the show right now, so mandatory thumbs up for Daniel, the other co-founder for Hard Lens Media. He
Love you,
joined me at the
Daniel.
DNC convention. Yeah, absolutely. He actually chimed in on here, and I think we should end it on this.
Tell him to get his butt in here.
You know what? Don't worry, Daniel. I'm going to hit you upside the head with an aluminum bat. So there you go.
Damn.
This gives him votes with women who are trying to have kids but are having trouble, which is a reasonable size cohort. So I could see, again, I think Daniel's kind of agreeing me on with this on a little bit. Again, this is I don't see a possible boon. Now let me go.
Okay, but what about
my phone has to charge up?
What about the you have to look at the gain. You're going to gain those women over there. That number is much smaller than the ideologues who don't want the government involved with their livelihood. With the libertarians that hate the word mandate. You can't use the word mandate. He's going to net gain, net loss. It's way more of a net loss than a net gain. If Daniel wants to challenge, if he had the stones, he'd come on here and challenge me.
Hey. Don't be causing no fights with my boy.
You're the one saying you're going to hit somebody over the head with an aluminum bat.
Hey. Me and him are cool. The
Emperor does not approve.
Hey, but look, I think look, here's a deal. Here's a deal. Because I understand where Daniel's bringing this up. I would say voter turnout's going to be key, and we will see how this impacts with voters. Okay, and if Trump is able to secure this and actually stay consistent with it and even defend it with the potential debate between him and Kamala on, I believe, what's going to be sometime later in September, I am curious to see. I want to see the follow through because, again, consistency is key. Perception drives reality. And we will see if this is a boon or a negative. Look, folks, we're right now reaching the end of August. We have September and October. We'll see how much of a landmine this is. And stay tuned to Hard Lens Media. So there you go.